Attitude check. Bronco Pike.
And welcome again to the Broncos on Blast Progress Report. I'm your host, Alex Podlegar, and we're coming to you from Luther Nick Gerald Stadium on the campus of Fayetteville State University, where the Broncos today kicked off their 2011 football season with their first official practice here on August 11th, and we're thankful to be joined by the head coach of the Broncos entering his 12th season here at the helm, Coach Kenny Phillips. And Coach, this is old hat to you. You've been a part of first practices in college football for quite some time. But your impressions today for the Fayetteville State Broncos today in the first practice?
Well, I tell you what, the best favor they got was the weather this morning, because we come out here, it was about 75, 80 degrees. And where the weather's been the last 2 weeks it was a blessing to you guys to be able to come out here and get a practice under the belt, not on 110-degree weather. But my impression, I think, it's always a typical first day. The thing you're trying to do is get them back into the rhythm that they're not familiar with, because we hadn't been in practice, and that's the tempo that we need to practice at out here, and get these young guys acclimated to the way we coach. And, it's going to take a couple of practice for those guys, but the older guys, I think tomorrow it'll be a lot better when we come out the sharpness and the tempo that we have at practice.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, like you said, it sounds like tempo is the number one thing to accomplish today in this kind of practice. But still, you're going through a number of different drills and that sort of thing. I know there's a lot of conditioning today, too. Talk about some of the other things that, were a part of this practice that are important for you guys going forward.
Well, the biggest thing you're trying to do in these first couple of days of practice is find those guys that are new that you think can help you. And you want to find those guys. You want to find those guys early, because we don't have a lot of practice opportunities, so you got to get those guys and get them in there and start working them with your groups, and try to find out who is a surprise in your camp. And I think we've got a couple of surprises, some things we got to get ironed out with them. But I think we got some pretty decent athletes this year in camp. That's
one thing, talk about the numbers out here. Everybody you talk to on the sidelines who are with the program saying this is the most bodies we've seen out here at this time of year in the last couple of years. Close to 100 Broncos out this year in camp. Your thoughts on the numbers, and what does that say for the program, not only at this point in the season, but going forward?
Well, I think the numbers are great. We didn't have quite the numbers we had a year ago, and that kind of think that hurt us in our early football games, not having the depth. But I think we got enough depth. This year we just got to get those new guys ready to play football. But, with the numbers, I think we had about between 95 and 100. Miss or, take one here or there that's not practicing right now because of a physical. But I think when it's all said and done, we'll end up with about 100 on the football team.
Any surprises today? You touched on it a little bit, but, again, this is old hat for you. It's hard to surprise you, isn't it?
You can't really do that much with just a helmet on. But the main thing you're trying to look at is who can run, who can open the hips. On the defensive side of the ball, who you feel like might have a chance to give you some depth on some special teams and might be able to step in and give you a couple of reps, but the guys that have an opportunity to play for you this year.
And lastly, I know it's early, but there's a reason to be excited about Broncos football this year after this first practice?
I think we got a great opportunity this year, barring that, we can stay healthy through the first 3 or 4 football games. I think after the first 3 or 4 football games, you pretty much can settle into the season. So if we can stay healthier than we did a year ago, I think we've got a chance to be a very good football team.
Coach, I appreciate your time stepping in over here after practice with us. Thank you so much. Sounds like the Broncos had it easy today with the weather. I know it'll get tougher from here on out as the Broncos get ready for that opening game on September 3rd right here at home in Fayetteville, the third Two Rivers Classic against UNC Pembroke. For all the latest news in Broncos athletics, visit FSUBroncos.com. Visit us on Facebook and on Twitter as well. You've been watching the Broncos on Blast Progress Report.